Because the King is set to return to public duties on Tuesday following his cancer treatment.
Yes, a palace spokesperson says King Charles is greatly encouraged to be resuming some public-facing engagements and is very grateful to his medical team.
Well, of course, many people sent well wishes, including the Prime Minister, who said on X, brilliant news to end the week.
And the Labour leader, Sir Keir Starmer, also posted a message on the platform saying, delighted to see His Majesty looking so well. I wish him and the Princess of Wales the best as they continue their recovery with the support of their families.
Well, we've got a palace statement. Apparently, they're saying His Majesty the King will shortly return to public-facing duties after a period of treatment and recuperation following his recent cancer diagnosis.
Well, joining us now is former Royal Correspondent Nicholas Owen. Very good to see you this morning, Nicholas. And isn't this just the most wonderful news?
It is indeed, yeah, absolutely. Well done to the King. Remind ourselves that we knew he was unwell very early part of the year. February the 5th, we got the news that he actually had cancer, which was beginning to be widely worried about. We've never been told exactly what the cancer is. Fine, OK. And here he is getting back to duty. But this amuses me, really, because you know anything about this man, he's always on duty. I was reading somewhere that one of his relatives, one of his many relatives, said that he was hugely frustrated that he couldn't get on with work in the same old way. But he's still been doing a lot. He still sees his private secretaries and all those other people every day. He's been doing that. He's still been meeting the Prime Minister for the Tuesday engagement, still been going through the red boxes. And then he goes off to Sandringham and there's a garden there, the new garden he's looking after. This is a restless individual. Can't keep him down.
But wasn't it his mother who said something along the lines of, we've got to be seen to be believed? Seen
to be believed, exactly, yes. Actually, this goes back a lot further than that, I think, really. It was, I think, George III, who had a lot of children, George III, and they were a bit of a reluctant bunch, rather ne'er-do-wells, you'd have to say. He got very cross with them because he said the important thing about us is to be seen. Our job is to be out there, and that's gone right through. And certainly Her Majesty the Queen took that view. It turns out, after the Queen's death, I was quite surprised about this. She had more bouts of illness than you might have expected in her life. Yeah, I mean, stories began to come out. Well, it's understandable. Lady lived on to nearly 100, so why wouldn't she? But you never, if you looked at her diary, looked back at what she'd done, looked at all the films over the years, the TV coverage and so on, it's just endless work, out and about.
Yeah, and she was so stoic as well, wasn't she? I mean, when we're talking about King Charles being a restless individual, you can imagine that this news is great news for him as well, because it will be so beneficial for him to be back to work and being amongst people.
Yes. I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? The first engagement in the new round, as I'm saying, he's been doing a lot of things, but this is public duties now. They're a defined expression, is to go to a cancer treatment centre next Tuesday. I'll be very interested to see which cancer treatment centre it is. This is a subject I know a bit too much about, as I've probably said here before. But that's the first thing he's going to be doing. But it's an absolute classic example of the sort of way he wants to get involved and where he wants to be seen.
But that's the acknowledgement of the power of all of this, isn't it? And although, I mean, for one thing, why can't they just have their privacy? And if they want to be, if they're ill, just be ill privately like the rest of us. It's different for them. If only because actually the positive impact sharing their stories can have, and going to the cancer treatment centre on Tuesday will have a huge impact.
It had, when it was announced he had cancer, and of course, in the background, we know that the Princess of Wales, there's a whole her struggles with the same thing, had an enormous public impact, and that's inevitable, isn't it? But this business about getting back to work, I mean, full-time work, and in the case of the King, he's one of these people who gets up early. He's the sort of person who wants to see everybody very, very early. He doesn't believe in lunch and all this sort of thing. Really? Oh, yeah. Tiring sort of business altogether. But getting back to sort of full-time work, I think it is very, very important. Or whatever you do in life. You may not have a job to do, but if you've got a family to run or relatives to see or people to care for, once you're, with a bit of luck, through your own medical toils, getting back to doing that is so beneficial. Got a very packed programme coming up. If he decides to do everything, I was having a look through the list. I mean, it ranges from There's the Trooping the Colour coming soon. There's the anniversary of the coronation of May the 6th. That's an interesting point. I mean, I'm sure something will be done to mark that. But then further out, there's Commonwealth heads of government meeting in Samoa, not just around the corner, is it? That's going to be a tiring journey, even for the King. And he's also planning a trip to Australia. Whether all these things happen, I think doctors will probably be saying, sir, hang on a minute. Let's just come here. Let's have a look and put the old blood pressure monitor on him. But no, it's terrific, and it will, I think, help in the way that his initial diagnosis helped sort of encourage people. I think this will give even more encouragement.
And what do you think this means for the monarchy as well? Because it has been a really challenging few months, hasn't it? I mean, it really is a slimmed-down monarchy. We've seen the pressure on Prince William, who has his own pressures, obviously, with his wife as well. And Queen Camilla, too.
Yes,
challenging time for her, and she's been wonderful.
She has, yeah. Well, she's had to carry a lot of the load, hasn't she? Because of course we know others are not available. Mustn't forget either Prince Edward and now the Duke of Edinburgh and his wife Sophie. They've really stepped up. Yeah. And I think proved themselves terrifically. But of course, there's one very senior royal who's not around doing things, and Prince Andrew, and I'm afraid that will be the case for the future. But I'm hoping the Queen gets a bit of a rest now. She deserves it, doesn't she? She really does deserve it. Another little line I love was the idea that the King has said to his age, I want to actually... Your point about being seen, quite literally, when he's in London, he wants to be in the car driving, that nice stately speed they do. I think it's about 22 miles an hour, I believe, in order that, everybody goes, what, was that the King? Oh, yes, it was,
That'd be nice, actually.
Isn't that lovely?
I'd love him to drive past me somewhere.
Yeah, well, we loved it, didn't we, at the coronation?
Oh, fantastic, yeah.
He came by. That was one of the best moments, it really was. And how lovely as well that he takes so much joy from being out and about amongst us. Lovely.
If you go back to the sort of 1990s and the days, I remember as a royal correspondent of Princess Diana, and it was said that she sort of taught the royal family this business about getting out and amongst people, But I think he's always been quite good at that. If you go back even to his university days and so on, and when he was in the Navy, he was always... he's probably like most of us, shy underneath, but actually he's been pretty good in public always. I mean, this is nothing new for him. No, good on you, sir. Great to see you back.